Well boys, it's that time of the week again. Trials week 6 is here with a couple of different challenges for us to take on. I've secured nearly 110,000 points within 3 hours or so of gameplay. You can go much higher than this. I suspect this week you can easily get well within the 150 to 200,000 mark this week, but either way, today we're going to be talking about how to easily complete these solo without the need of a group for 3 stars. We're also going to be talking about which ones are going to be the big point farms of this week and how to farm them if you want to go for higher points as the week develops. Personally, I think I'll be pushing this week. Last week I remained unchanged as I was kind of feeling tapped out on trials, but I think this week I'll try to go for a double promotion again. We're also going to be going which ones are going to be more free loadout friendly and so on. As per usual, the typical trial tips you must know when doing trial challenges. First, you want to do these in major map conditions. That's going to be hidden bunker, night raids, and electromagnetic storms. Minor map conditions such as harvesters, matriarchs, and others do not count. Or rather, they do count, but they only give half the amount of points you could realistically earn. Only these conditions here below the actual map name give you the full points, so keep that in mind. Second of all, for farming as much points as possible, doing it in a group is always going to be better. But weirdly enough, I find going for 3 stars to be easier solo as people tend to be way more friendly. So in other words, if you're going for 3 stars, I would recommend doing it solo. If you're trying to be at the top of your leaderboard, I would recommend going in a group of 3. This week feels a little bit less dependent on the hidden bunker map condition than previous weeks, so that's a good sign, I guess. I mean, realistically, 2 to 3 of these trials still work best on hidden bunker, but still, it's an improvement, I guess. Let's go ahead and start off with the first challenge, damage Hornets. I still recommend the same farm I've recommended for the past few weeks for damaging wasps, Hornets, or sometimes even Rocketeers. And that's going to be dropping into a hidden bunker map condition with a couple of adrenaline shots, rushing one of the trench towers, either the south tower or the north tower, and ziplining on top of it with barricades and traps and a crap ton of ammo, as well as of course well repaired weapons so they don't break mid-run. This in my opinion is the most guaranteed method of getting high points on these types of challenges. I've done this for about 4 to 5 different weeks worth of challenges, and I have never been killed by other players doing this or died to the PvE. You could probably min-max points elsewhere or by spamming snitch scanners, but for a solo player, this place is extremely safe. No players can push up on you here as you have massive high ground advantage, and on top of that, you're quite literally on top of 3 to 4 different Hornet patrol spawns and even snitch spawns as well that you can bait into calling in new Hornets. Realistically, as a solo, as long as I kept taking out all the patrols, it was just a consistent stream of Hornets one after another. Which, by the way, I should point out that I felt Hornets will spawn far quicker if you take out the full patrol. What I mean is, sometimes it's gonna spawn like 2 wasps and 1 Hornet. Make sure you kill the wasps on these as well. I feel like they respawn a lot faster if you do so. Around mid-game of this recording, I kind of only sniped the Hornets out of each patrol to experiment with this theory. And due to leaving the wasps alive, there was like a 5+ minute section where literally nothing else respawned. I was just sitting there waiting. And I think that's because the game was just waiting for that patrol to clear out first before it respawned another one. But again, this is just a theory. It's not been confirmed by Embark or anything. Also, I should clarify that yes, if you do shoot the Hornets in the center mass rather than taking out the engines, you do get way more points. To be specific, I found that I was getting about 365 points per Hornet engine kill, but I was getting a full 760 points for a center mass damage kill. But let me be clear here that in this recording, I killed all of my Hornets with the exception of 1 by shooting the engines. The truth is, I've been farming them wrong for the past few weeks, and today I just kind of went in autopilot, and when I realized the mistake I was doing, I was like 15 minutes deep. So what I just figured is I would continue killing the Hornets by killing their engines, because I could then get the final score and double it to figure out what kind of potential points I could achieve with this method. Also, hidden bunker had already been finished, so I couldn't just queue up again. So with that, I achieved 24,000 points and some change. If I had shot the Hornets by targeting their main hole, this could have been upwards of 48,000. So make sure to go for their main body if you're going for big points. Personally, I'll be doing that later on this week with a group for sure. The second trial challenge is deliver carriables. And this week I only got 5,000 points, but I had potential of achieving at least 10,000. Spaceport, as far as interactive maps go, it has the most amounts of potential field crates. In this interactive map alone, there are 47 potential field crate spawns. Of course, all of these spawns are not guaranteed, and realistically, you'll probably get like 10 field crates a game at best. For this trials, I'd recommend doing either Spaceport or Dam Battlegrounds. Make sure you utilize an online interactive map to keep track of their potential spawns, and then it's just all about going from point A to point B. If there are other players in the server doing the same challenge as you are, you're kind of in trouble. You may still be able to get 3 stars, which is what happened in my case, but after 5 field crates, literally every other potential spawn on the map in my game had been cleaned out by other players. So this one is going to take a ton of attempts to min-max RNG to your advantage. Still though, I wouldn't worry about this one too much if you want points, as there are other challenges that are way better for point farming. I would just go for the 3 stars and call it a day. As for damaging Rocketeers, Leapers, or Bastions, I think Spaceport is the best bet once again. I was going for a high point farm today, fully kitted out, but found myself getting PvP'd as I was looking out for another solo player. So I just figured, you know what, I'm just gonna go for an easy 3 stars. So what I would recommend for that is put on an augment that allows you to carry 2 to 3 safe pockets and just fill them up with Wolfpack. Run towards the middle of the map in Spaceport and Wolfpack either the Leapers or Rocketeers for a quick 4,400 points. If you're looking for high point farm, I would push the bottom of the launch tower on Spaceport, and I would focus on taking on the big guys from here. Do keep in mind this is a very aggressive position and will likely mean you'll have to fight for this spot quite a few times. But from the bottom of the launch tower, you can literally spot about 2 to 3 different Leaper spawns, about 3 Rocketeer spawns, and even a Bastion spawn as well. It does not get any better than this location. You can also do it on Hidden Bunker for the extra 10 minutes, but the problem with the Hidden Bunker is that it does have Bombardiers in the same place as Bastions, so they might make your life a lot harder as you don't really need to kill them for this week's challenge. So figure out which method you want to take on. Now, as for destroying pops, I believe I got a really high amount of points this week with a new strategy. So basically for pops, I managed to kill 48 different pops today, and I think that's pretty good. I'm not exactly sure if it's gonna get much higher than this, but I'm sure some players will find a way. So basically for pops, as you might already expect, the best place to find these is in Stella Montis with the new night raid map condition for it. And yes, as you can probably expect, it's also going to be absolute chaos due to all of the PvP that happens on this map. But I do have a solution to kind of bypass the PvP issue altogether. I'm sad that I'm even going to say this, and I'm sad that this is even a thing, but that's just the type of stuff that's going to happen when the trial system works the way that it does. Now, if you queue for Stella Montis Night Raid as it's nearing its final minute or with just a few seconds left on the clock, you will get into a game that will not respawn any new player. So in my case, for example, I got in this Stella Montis run with all of the other solo raiders, and I just knew that every player in the server that either died or extracted would not be replaced by another raider, as Night Raid was no longer active, so people couldn't queue for it anymore. So in other words, I remained fairly quiet in the beginning few minutes to let people fight or extract in peace as the lobby got smaller and smaller. And as the game went on, I started to gain confidence and I rotated around the 2 sandbox areas, the control areas up here, as well as the metro station extraction point. And it was kind of just a back and forth type of thing at this point. In Stella Montis, these pops respawn extremely quickly, so pretty much as soon as you leave a room for like a few minutes, by the time you're back, all of the pops have already respawned. Can you get more points than this? Sure. In an ideal case scenario, you literally sprint around the map, killing everything in sight. But of course, there's the constant possibility of a player being around the corner to put you down. If you don't want to do Stella Montis, Buried City is going to be your second best option. By playing the research and space travel building, the parking garage, the hospital, and the extraction points as well, these places have quite a lot of pops. And last but not least, we got open arc probes yet again. This is extremely free loadout friendly, although I would recommend going in with a ton of adrenaline shots. Personally, I brought 15 for this solo gameplay. If you're in a group, this is a million times easier, but in solo, you'll need to cover the entire map and all of the breaches by yourself. For this, I would recommend Them Battlegrounds on Electromagnetic Storm. This map is far more condensed than Spaceport, so it's faster to rotate around. And in case you didn't know, on Electromagnetic Storms, probes will often spawn in packs of 2 or 3, giving you a ton of extra points. I wouldn't even actually recommend using an interactive map for this one. Just pay attention to the dark smoke that comes out of these arcs and constantly open the map. The arc probes will show up in your map if you zoom in, even if they're pretty far away from you, making this an extremely easy trial to do even without any assistance. By the way, remember that it's not about breaching the probe, it's about searching it. So if a probe has already been opened by another player, it's even better for you. You can just tap the search button and move on to the next one. Trial season ends in about 2 weeks, so we'll see if any changes happen to how this system works out. But as always, I will be covering all that. So subscribe if you would like to keep up to date with everything Arc Raiders related. And that's gonna be all for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you guys are having a good time out there. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll be catching you legends on the next one. Peace.